What's up, y'all? Back at it again, Iskosi Umfundisi. You know what I'm saying? And it's been a crazy wild week, hasn't it? But we out here back and making these Black History videos, for you and yours, for y'all, you know what I'm saying? And this one is on a global search. This comes from the Atlantic magazine, and it's called, the Witches of Baltimore. Young Black women are leaving Christianity and embracing African witchcraft in the digital covens. This came out this past week. We're going to talk about this. As you see, is a picture, of a Black woman, of a beautiful sister right here doing our heritage. You know what I'm saying? Honoring the African goddess. "We may not be Christians here, but we still pray," said a woman dressed entirely in white as she addressed a large audience of African American women. Standing behind the serum, speaking in the cadence of a preacher, she added, I understand God more now, and doing what I'm doing, and I did ever in church." The call and response followed. "No one's going to respect us, but who? Us," was reminiscent of church. But this was no traditional sermon. The speaker, Iskosi Umfundisi, was given a keynote address last month at the third annual Black Witches Convention, where brought together some 200 women in Baltimore reception hall. The small but growing community points to hundreds of Black women who are leaving Christianity in favor of their ancestor African spiritual traditions and finding a sense of power in the process. Over the past decade, white millennials have embraced witchcraft in droves. Now, a parallel phenomenon is emerging among Black millennials. While their exact numbers are difficult to gauge, it's clear that African American pop culture has started to reflect on the trend. The music industry alone, there's a Beyonce allusion to the African goddess Lemonade at the Grammys. Azalea Banks' declaration that she practiced Bonjura, a Spanish term for witchcraft, and Princess Nokia hit Bundos, in which she tells white witches, everything you got from us. African American witchcraft originated in West Africa, the birthplace of Yoruba, which is in Nigeria. A set of religious traditions focus on the reverence for the ancestors and the worship of the vast pantheon of deities known as Asheras. Those traditions accompanied West Africans who were brought here as Americans to America as the slaves, and were eventually combined with religions such as Catholicism that many slaves were forced to embrace. This says push, but we was forced. They're trying to be nice on that. During the 19th century, Cuban Santeria, Brazilian Cambo, Haitian voodoo, and other centric faiths has emerged as a result. In cities like New Orleans, voodoo, slightly different from the Haitian voodoo and hoodoo, which also descend from West African faiths, grew popular. These practices, which involve multiplicating candles, scents, or water to achieve desired results, may have helped give slaves some sense of power, however minimal. Modern Black witches are practicing Yoruba-based faith with few millennial touches. They build altars to their ancestors, which you should do. You should always give credit to your ancestors, so they can seek their advice and guidance on everything from romance to professional achievement. Cast spells using a mortar to help banish depression, and surround themselves with crystals in the hope they will relieve stress, and burn sage to cleanse their apartments with negative energy. Some hallmarks of millennial spirituality are common in both white and African witches. They are typically disillusioned with the hierarchy institution of the Catholic Church. For example, and attracted to the do-it-yourself spiritual but not religious practices such as those used to the crystals. But the budding Black witch community has also unique traits, including a desire for safe spaces, a awareness of cultural appropriation, and a penchant for a digital religion. Many Black witches nervous about practicing witchcraft openly, feeling more uncomfortable meeting online in person. Some fear they will be shamed by devout Christian parents, according to Margarita Goray, a Boston University professor who studied Africana religion in the digital age. The internet is almost becoming a hush harbor for these witches of color. Glory said, referring to the place where the slaves gathered their secret practice to their religion in Alabama, America. Online, an average of the handles allow women to speak freely. A popular Tumblr promotes an inspirational message of Black witches, and Facebook group for women have thousands of members each. Some even have developed smartphone apps. You go, girl. And y'all queens keep going. Keep on making that happen. That's good stuff. Got the smart apps. Some young women at Baltimore Convention told me their parents had long hid their grandmothers or great-grandmothers' involvement in witchcraft, a decision that millennials resented until they realized that their parents may have felt the need to suppress any talk of magic because their ancestors were harshly punished for the ritual. New Orleans, for example, saw a sweeping arrest of voodooists in the 19th century. Monica Jeffries, a 28-year-old teacher who had playfully donned and pointed a witch hat for the convention, grew up in an apostolic church, but she broke ties with it 4 years ago. She said her mother had forced Christianity on her. Jeffries sometimes called home trying to figure out why. I'm asking her questions about Christianity, and I'm like, why would you do this to us? She still can't give me the answers. While some millennials enter the black witchcraft community seeking answers, others are simply hungry for a place where they can belong. Mambo Mensah, a witch who grew up in Panama, told me witchcraft serves as a safe haven for some LGBT youth who don't feel welcome in the church. A number of online posts about LGBT witches attest to the overlap between the queer and the witches community. Empowerment was an unstigmatized aspect of the Black Witch Convention, replete with talks of sexual trauma suppression and self-acceptance. It's like group therapy. Women cried and spoke in trembling voices that describe experience of abuse. While the Me Too movement is out there are still African American women who don't have a voice. We are not represented, Omalisa said in the keynote. One thing I know from studying African religion is I had never seen one subservient goddess. So why are we sitting here thinking about being subservient? Amalita went on to differentiate between the African witchcraft and the New Age shit, like witches who gathered to hex Donald Trump and Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. But some black witches practice astrology, says, and are what the Pew Research considered New Age. In fact, a recent Pew study, they got a Pew study on this, found that the rate of the belief in the New Age ideas is especially high among communities that came from attendees that came from historically black Christian dominations. So black Christianity is waning down. The study found that the New Age and the Christian tradition often coexist in the same person who on a pure view of the convention. While some witches told me they are finished with Christianity, others said they still attend church and argue that Christianity and African witchcraft are complementary, but not mutual, exclusive. As Maria put it, the Bible ain't got nothing but a big old spell book. For the black witch community, the openness of their religious tradition, they are still deeply ambivalent about whether people should be kept out. On one hand, there's a sense that they are having an easy time embracing their ancestors' traditions because white millennials have rebranded witchcraft as cool. Ain't that a bitch trying to blame it on the white man? Anyway, there is, however, concern that white witches are appropriating African rituals and may not properly understand them. White women these days are making witches covens and something fun. It's just fun for them, Yanta said. But in our traditions, witches had to be totally initiated to be considered a witch. Initiation typically involved receiving oral instruction, hands-on training from an elder. That sort of embodied that learning that. Yanta said, young witches don't get that and they rely too much on the visual religion. In-person gatherings like the Black Witch Convention are meant to serve as an antidote to the over-reliance on the internet culture. The millennials I spoke to said it was necessary to counterbalance, but they had emphasized how much they value how to individualize DIY rituals they embrace back home. The church is oppressive for a lot of young black women, said Tamara Young, a 32-year-old government program analyst. But these African traditions empower women. They are empowering to know you have that you have in your hand a hand what's going on and create your own magic. And I want to say that's some good stuff. Getting back to, worshiping your ancestors and stuff like that. I said about African culture. We should get back to these dashikis. You know what I'm saying? And doing things like that, wearing dashikis. Wear a dashiki every Friday. Wear African garb every Friday. You know what I'm saying? This is our culture. We should love it. We should embrace it. You can't change being African. Even if you mix. And you got kids, kids out there that's mixed kids or a mixed person, whatever, so-called mixed person that say that. Hey, embrace your African features. Love your African side. You know what I'm saying? Do this in memories of your ancestors that fought and struggled and, that came up and made stuff happen. Well, this is Iskosi Umfundisi. You know what I'm saying? And, subscribe to the channel. Got more videos coming out. This channel's popping and booming. And I love my African culture. I do it for this reason. Hey, Hotep, and please subscribe. One love.